Welcome back. So this is our chapter 2, and we're going to be looking at chapter 2 of our research writing. Just like we did in the previous chapter 1, where we talk about the introduction and then listed out, I think, about 7 items that you need to cover under your introduction. In the chapter 2, we'll be looking at literature reviews. In most states, when you are writing, after you must have introduced what you want to write about, the next thing is for you to review several literatures to back up your claims, right? To back up what you are researching on, right? So always the chapter 2 is your literature review, and your literature review is broken down into several components, right? And that is what we'll be looking at as we progress. So if you have not looked at the chapter 1, please go ahead and look at it so that you understand, the process and the flow, right? So your chapter 1 has stuff like your background to the study. The general name for your chapter 1 is introduction. So that is where you cover background to the study. Like I told us, it's not background of the study, it's background to the study, right? Then we have, from background to the study, you have statement of the problem, you have your aim and objective, right? Or the objectives of the study, right? So some institution will just put it as an objective, like a general word, objectives of the study, because they understand that your aim is actually the topic that you have presented. So they'll use objectives of the study, right? Instead of aim and objectives. Some will still say aim and objective, whereby you specify the aim, you tie it to your topic, and then the objectives where you now, itemize the steps in which you want to use in achieving the aim, right? Then we have stuff like significance of the studies. We have stuff like scope of the studies, definition of key terms, and all whatnot. Some clients might want you to use a research question. You do the research question actually before your aim and objectives, because your objectives are tied to your research question. So go ahead, look at the chapter 1 so that you understand some of these things carefully. Also, you have to look at the institution you're coming from to be able to, fine-tune your work to also suit what their guidelines are like, right? So in chapter 2, we'll be looking at literature review. Literature review. So this is where you cover every form of claims, every backup, everything you want to use in backing up your topic. This is where you cover it. This is where you review it. And literature reviews are, broken down into 3 aspects. The conceptual review is one of the aspects. Now, in the conceptual framework or review, most people like it to be used, like the word frameworks, right? Because at this point, they expect that you build a framework or you get frameworks step-by-step ways on how you want to achieve several concepts that are in your work, several concepts you want to use in your work. At most times, people look at those key terms you have defined in your definition of terms. Most people want to discuss them in detail in the conceptual framework. So this is where you talk about all the concepts from several other materials that you have reviewed, right? You have to, categorize them and bring them under the conceptual framework of your work. So for instance, if we have 2.1, which is an aspect of the literature review where we are discussing concepts, right? So you are bringing all the concepts, for instance, like what we have time series analysis and forecasting techniques. Now, these are concepts. These are concepts, right? So these concepts can be discussed here. We also have machine learning algorithms and model, which is another concept under that. So all of the concepts will be discussed under conceptual review. The next type of review is the empirical review. Empirical review is the same as you saying review of previous work. So some clients will have it as review of previous work. Some will have it as empirical review. Now, empirical review is mostly what we see most times when we see a paper being published. We see mostly the things we are saying there are empirical review, whereby you have to, quote somebody and refer to his work, and then what is his conclusion from his work, right? So that is the point whereby you look at a particular work that has been done, literally work that has been done by somebody, what is the methodology he deployed, what is the result that he got and what is his conclusion. So that is what you are doing under empirical review. And when you are doing this, you are either proposing, that you're either supporting the person's claim or you are opposing the person's claim, right? So this is what you have here in your empirical review. And when you start writing all of those, topic, what the person did, how he did it, and what he achieved, and all those things, it is either they are in support of your work or that you are trying to solve a problem that they did not solve. So this is where you are capturing that. For instance, you can see Akpan et al. Also developed an artificial neural network model to forecast the daily price good of whatever. They use this, that. They use the data from total. That's a method that they use, that the ANN model outperform other traditional statistics model in predicting the gold price. Now, that is their conclusion. And the methodology they use, the topic they did, the method they used, and then what they achieved, right? So you use that, in your empirical review. So you see that in another study, Okoro and Allow use this, that. So you are just like giving claims to back up what you are saying, right? And that is how your empirical review of previous works are done. The third part of your literature review are the theories, the theoretical review. Now, these are the theories that underpins your work. The theories, where did it start from? Where is it going to? What has been done about that work? Where did it originate from? Who are the persons that propose this kind of studies that you are using? The things you are using, how did they come about? So you look at the theories around them. And in theoretical review, when you're looking at theories, years here matters a lot. There are some institutions that will tell you, okay, look at theories below 5 years or 7 years or 10 years. It shouldn't be above that, right? So there are institutions that will tell you that. So when you are reviewing them, you have to look for the most recent theory as it relates to your work, because there are theories that might have been propounded in 1880, for instance, and that theory must have, evolved over time. So you have to look for that theory and evolve with that theory until you get to the latest bits of that particular theory, what it has achieved so far until now, right? So those are how you look at the theoretical review. So you review several theories that underpins your work in the theoretical review, right? So these are the three major reviews that are captured under your literature review. Then we also have summary of literature. Some people will write it as gaps. Some people identify it as gaps, right? So actually, this is mostly optional in some cases where you have your gaps itemized or listed, right? So in your summary of literature, you have to compare all the literatures and summarize them, okay, what they did not do, right? And why you want to use this to achieve, or why you want to achieve this as, a way of solving the problem that they did not carry out, right? So that is what you are doing in your gaps or your summary of literature. So, but most times this is, optional. This aspect is optional in some places, but some places, they always need it to give you a guide to what your research is all about. So these are the 3 to 4 major aspect of your literature review. So remember, the first one is the conceptual framework, right? Conceptual framework, where you have to define and explain or review concepts that surrounds your work, right? One of the ways of helping you achieve that is to look at all those things you have listed as your definition of key terms, some of them, and just see books, literary works that have been done around them. The next one is the empirical review, where you actually review the previous studies that have been carried out on your work and where you want to improve, right? Then the theoretical review, where you look at the theories that underpins your work, right? The theories that underpins your work. Then you can do your summary of literature or gaps, identify gaps, or whichever way the institution you are, whichever way they list it. If they want it to be compulsory, you do that. They don't want it to be compulsory, you can use your discretion to write that, right? So this is actually optional. right, where you summarize all the literatures you have done, what are the gaps, and then what you want to achieve. So this is how you write your literature reviews, and these are the three main, items to that underpins your literature review. So thank you for listening and have a wonderful day. Please do not forget to subscribe, right? Thank you.